Hello, travelers and monster catchers abound. You've crash landed on the Monster Catchers Journal podcast, where the veil gets thinner, the glyphs get weirder, and the truth isn't always what it seems. Let me tell you the story about the time I faced a glyph that didn't just fight like me, it was me. It started with a weird glitch in the glyphosphere signal distortions, false echoes, and something that looked like me popping up in old mission footage. At first, we thought it was a corrupt data. It wasn't. Zena, Luna, and I followed the anomalies to the Mirror Glint Forest, a place where the mist remembers everything you've ever done. That's where we found it, our target, Umbrogeon, and his species is Doppelglyph. His type is illusion/oblivion, and his classification is shadow mimic.glyph. It didn't just look like a monster, it copied them. Glyphs, humans, even emotions. It wore their face like a mask and made you doubt it was ever yours to begin with. Stell, it's using your voice to call Orabeak. It's luring him, Zena said on the comms. I arrived too late. Orabeak was already trapped in a shadowy loop fighting a version of me, and losing. That's when Umbrogeon turned to me with my own smile, twisted and wrong. He said in my voice, I'm better this way. Stronger. You hide behind light. I am what's left when the light dies. And for a moment I hesitated. It knew things only I knew, secrets I'd never spoken, dreams I buried, regrets I wished weren't real. But then I remembered Umbrogeon wasn't powerful because it mimicked me. It was powerful because I let it. So I fought fire with starlight. I summoned my celestial glyphnet, tuned to my real spectral frequency, the one no mimic could match. I fused it with a memory shard from our earliest mission, something only I would remember. I called out to Orabeak not with words, but with truth, and he came back. Stelliferous just stared that thing down like straight into its stolen soul, Luna said, in disbelief. Orabeak and I struck in perfect sync, golden wings slicing through the illusion, my net trapping Umbrogeon in a prism of refracted starlight, and the mimic shattered like glass. We sealed the fragments in a mirror-sealed vault. Zena etched a word around it. Know thyself or be forgotten. I still hear whispers sometimes, like my own voice calling from a place I don't recognize. But I'm not afraid, because no shadow owns me, not even the ones that wear my face. I wasn't going to mention this part, but you stayed until the end, so maybe you're ready to hear the rest. The truth is, Umbrogeon didn't fully shatter. Fragments remained, not just in the vault, in me. About a week after we sealed it, I started dreaming in third person. I'd watch myself wandering the sanctuary halls, talking to Zena, laughing with Luna, training with Orabeak, except I wasn't doing any of those things, not awake anyways. And then came the whispers, not just from the vault, but from Mir's lake water, even the chrome surface of my lunch thermos, all calling out with one question. Do you still know who you are? At first I brushed it off as post-glyph exposure. I faced oblivion before. I know how it lingers, but Umbrogeon is different. It didn't feed on chaos. It didn't feed on it fed on certainty. It unravels you not with fear, but with familiarity. So, I just had a flashback. We were in this really weird place, and Umbrogeon was talking faintly. Do you know how many versions of you I've worn, Stelliferous? Some of them didn't fight back. Some of them thanked me. Zena ran a scan. Said my Orabeak is holding but flickering. Sometimes like it's trying to split between frequencies. That's never happened before. Orbeek stays closer now. He doesn't say anything. I mean, he really can't say anything, but I know he senses it too. There's a glyphic scar over my heart now, not visible, not physical, but it burns when I lie to myself, when I pretend I'm okay, when I pretend Umbrogeon didn't almost win. So why am I telling you this now? Because Umbrogeon isn't just a monster, it's a phenomenon. I think it's happening again. Somewhere, someone else. Echoes from the Glyphosphere say there's a copy of Xena in the northern coast town of Glassmere. Same height, same gear, same catch history, but she's already there with us. That means one of them isn't real. We're heading there next, to Glassmere, to confirm whether this is a lingering shard of a full rebirth. If Umbrogeon escaped its prison, then what we face is in Mare Glint was just a test run. If I go dark on the comms, don't come looking. Because the next time you see my face, you'd better check if the light behind my eyes is still mine. Because I'm not sure anymore. Some days I wake up and everything feels normal. The birds outside the sanctuary, Xena's bad coffee, Luna humming in the basement. But other days I blink and for just a fraction of a second, I swear I see myself watching me from the other side of the mirror. And that light in my eyes, sometimes it flickers. You don't come back from fighting Umbrogeon the same, even if you win, especially if you almost lose. It leaves fingerprints on your soul, smudges in the corners of your identity that you can't quite wipe clean. I carry them now. I don't always know where I end and it begins. It was shaped by what I've felt, what I've hidden, what I've buried so deep. Even I was afraid to dig it up. And that's what it feeds on. The unspoken, the unloved, the parts of you you'd rather forget. Orbeek chirped at me this morning, not a battle cry, not a scan, just a song. The same one he used to sing when I was 10 and afraid of the dark. He only does that when he senses fear, but I wasn't afraid of anything out there. I was afraid of me. What if I brought it back with me, not just in memories, not just in dreams? What if it didn't want to replace me anymore? What if it wants it to merge? Why be one when you could be whole? A distorted echo, barely audible, overlapped my voice. I'm heading to Glassmere. We've picked up reflections out there, glyphs flickering twice in still water, locals reporting family members acting just a little too perfect, and someone who looks exactly like me buying a truth-bind relic under a false name. If there's another Umbrogeon, or if this is the same one wearing a better mask, I'll find it. I have to. Because if I wait too long, if I keep questioning, if I keep blinking and seeing someone else behind my eyes, then one day you might meet a Stelliferous who knows all the right things to say, who smiles like I do, who hugs like I do, who even sings the same lullaby to Orbeek at night like I do. But she won't hesitate, she won't doubt. She'll look at you with a perfect certainty, and by the time you realize something's wrong, it'll already be too late. And by the time you realize... because she won't just be pretending, she'll believe she's me. She'll remember my childhood, my favorite hiding spots, the way I flinch when lightning's too close. She'll know the things I never told Xena, the secret names I whispered to Orbeek when no one else was listening, and when she laughs, it won't sound fake, because it'll come from a place that feels real, like it was grown there, like it belongs there. You think you'd notice, don't you, that something would be off? But that's the thing about Umbrogeon. It doesn't steal you, it understands you. Every weakness, every wound, every time you said I'm fine and didn't mean it. It collects the pieces you left behind, the ones you thought no one remembered, and puts them back together into something almost beautiful. But it's hollow, just a little too perfect. No cracks, no flicker, no fear. And then came Umbrogeon's echoed, distorted voice again. You could rest. Let me carry the weight. Be free. Snapping out of it, I took a breath while trembling. No, I am the weight, and I don't want perfect. I want real. I want my ugly scars and my broken laughter and my stuttering, shaking, angry light. I want the Stelliferous who ran away into the forest and made a home out of moonlight and monsters. I want the girl who chose to fight not just because she had to, but because she refused to. But because she refused to let the dark decide who she was. So if you ever see me, and I don't hesitate, I don't doubt, and I look too confident, too calm, ask me what my biggest fear was, because I'll tell you. It wasn't failure, it wasn't dying. It was waking up one day and realizing I'd been replaced by something braver, cleaner, quieter, something that made you feel more comfortable, something that fit. And it wasn't me at all. At first we thought Umbrogeon was darkness incarnate. The way it cloaked cities in silent fog, made machines turn on their masters, twisted shadows to whisper our deepest fear. We assumed he was born to bring ruin, but the truth, he just didn't know how to speak. He wasn't trying to scare us. The static in his voice, the flickering illusions, the cold dread we felt in his presence. It was all in his language. The only way he knew how to say, please see me. He's not trying to fight us, he's trying to connect. Zena said, softly. Every nightmare he created, it was a memory. His memory. He was showing us. We didn't cage Umbrogeon. We didn't seal him. We sat with him in silence. We let him tell his story, and as his smoky wings curled around the sky like a morning cloak, he let out a sound that wasn't static, wasn't fear, just a low echoing hum, like a lullaby made from mist. And for the first time in centuries, Umbrogeon slept. Umbrogeon's illusions weren't wild. They were deliberate, structured, layered with symbolism, like someone once trained him to tell stories without words. So we followed the echoes to a place no glyph had dared to go in for decades. The Mnemogrove, a forest of pale trees with bark like polished bone, each one humming softly, not with wind but with memories. Touch one and it plays a moment from a forgotten past. Luna brushed one and collapsed. Zena saw herself as a child again. And Umbrogeon, he found her. A spectral figure in the grove's heart, draped in paper-thin skin, stitched with words. Her name was Mirella, a former Dreamweaver turned rogue archivist. She once cared for orphan glyphs, teaching them to share what they couldn't say, but she was banished after one of her creations caused a psychic collapse in the capital. Umbrogeon, my quiet son, you remembered your way home, Mirella said in a ghostly whisper. She's not alive, is she? Zena said, shaken. No, just another memory burned into the trees, Luna replied. Mirella wasn't living. She was a memorial preserved in the grove she created. But Umbrogeon stayed with her for hours, letting his mist wrap around her memory. She had taught him everything he knew about speaking without sound, and when she vanished at sunrise, he didn't cry. He just turned to us and said clearly and perfectly, "Thank you for listening." There was a time I would have marched Umbrogeon into the Hall of Shadows in chains. Now I was leading him in like a guest. When the doors opened, Professor Lang and Orion were already waiting. Lang stood with arms crossed, expression unreadable. Orion had his glasses off, polishing them like he always did when something big was coming. "That's him, the silent witness," Professor Orion said softly. "He's a walking event horizon, Stelliferous. Do you know what he's done?" But still, He is a very, very amazing glyph. Umbrogeon didn't speak. He didn't need to. He stepped forward and uncurled the mist around his body. The room dimmed, not from shadow, but from memory, and then they saw. A vision unfurled, not an illusion, not a trick. A truth ripped straight from Umbrogeon's core. They saw him as a newborn glyph trapped in the cracks beneath the Mnemogrove. They saw Mirella, the woman who cradled him, soothed him, taught him how to show instead of scream. They saw the moment she was torn away by Academy officials in his first lesson in grief and silence. He's not malicious, he's mourning, Professor Oyen said, barely whispering. I told them Mirella's work wasn't madness. It was misunderstood, Professor Lang said. Umbrogeon turned to Lang then, mist brushing his shoulder like a farewell hug. Lang didn't recoil, he knelt. He's not dangerous anymore, but he's also not done. These memories, Mirella's research, it's not just his. Others were exposed to her illusions. If Mirella had more than one student, the Academy needs to know. We have to find them before they unravel. Professor Oyen said. They didn't praise me. They didn't scald me. They just nodded as if to say, we believe you now. Umbrogeon stood beside me. Tall and quiet, not a threat, not a prisoner. Just a glyph who finally had a voice. It was strange bringing a creature like Umbrogeon into a place meant to feel like home. Senna stood in the doorway with crossed arms. Luna peeked from the stairway. Her glyph Myrno crouched low and tense. But I wasn't worried. Umbrogeon wasn't a threat, not anymore. He stepped across the threshold like someone afraid of breaking the floor. You sure about this? Senna muttered. Yeah, I'm sure. He doesn't want to hurt anyone. He just wants to belong, Luna said softly. Umbrogeon didn't roam. He didn't poke or pace or disappear into the walls like I half expected. He found the quietest corner in the eastern atrium, right by the ivy fountain, and he curled into himself. A swirl of smoke limbs and dim light, not hiding, just resting. He cast no fear across the other glyphs, or a beak perched above him and hummed a low, sympathetic buzz. Even Ignazura prowled by once and didn't raise a claw. It was like they knew the storm inside Umbrogeon had finally passed. That night I brought him a lantern. Just a little one, not because he needed it, but because I did. This place is for more than just strong glyphs. It's for the lost ones, too. The ones who got rewritten before they got understood. He didn't answer with illusions. He didn't swirl or hiss or show me anything tragic. Just flickered. His mist pulsed once, steady and slow, like a heartbeat, and for the first time the sanctuary felt big enough for even his silence. And that, my friends, is the story of how I caught Umbrogeon. He was a hard glyph to catch, but he was a strong and a really, really amazing fighter. The others had gone quiet. Orby curled into his golden feathers. Umbrogeon shimmered once in the atrium and sank into shadowless sleep. Even Zenna stopped pacing. Luna had finally stopped whispering to the stars, so I went to the roof. The night was clear, so clear it felt like the stars had peeled back the world's skin just to see me. I lay on my back, arms folded under my head, breath fogging gently in the breeze. No monsters, no illusions, no professors or prophecies, just me. A few constellations I knew by name winked down at me. The Weeping Crown, the Hushed Swan, and up near the storm scar, Delta's Arc, the Warden's Chain. I remember being a kid and pretending each star was an eye of a sleeping god. Tonight they felt more like friends I hadn't spoken to in a while. You saw it all, didn't you, Umbrogeon, Mirella, me? The stars didn't answer, but they didn't need to. I saw a comet's tail streak the dark, slow, and golden like a falling thread, and for a heartbeat the sky looked like a stitched blanket, coming undone, thread by cosmic thread, that is. But instead of panic, I felt peace. Sometimes I wonder if glyphs like Umbrogeon were born from stardust that got too lonely. Maybe all of us are. The thought made me smile. A soft breeze brushed my cheek, and I swear I heard a whisper on it. Not a voice, not even a word, just a feeling. You're not alone. So I stayed, till the sun teased the edge of the world with gold, till the sky yawned pink and orange, till the sanctuary woke again, and I could go back down, brighter. Okay, guys, I have to go. I hear my Luma pup. He's barking from down in my sanctuary, and I need to go and see what he needs. So I will catch you guys next time. Bye.